Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The gang and I have officially arrived in the final act of Baldur's Gate 3. You might think that this means that we are at the end of our journey, but to be totally honest, it's kinda just starting. It's cliche, I know, but it is hard to put into words just how long, complicated, and action-packed this section of the game is. At the start of Act 2, I went and redid Act 1 because I had missed a lot, and I wanted some things to go differently. Thankfully, I didn't really miss a whole lot in Act 2, and I don't have to go through it all again. That means I don't have to spend much more time introing, and we can get started. We've got a lot to do, but I'm gonna try not to rush things. I hope you're all strapped in, because we are going on one hell of a ride. The first thing I did was check in with everyone in the camp. There were only two things of note. First of all, Astarion is hell-bent on taking down Cazador and completing the vampiric ascension ritual on himself. The second thing is kind of a huge problem. Gale is gone for good, and he leaves behind a letter that explains himself. Because we killed Elminster in Act 1.5, Gale didn't receive his mission to destroy the Absolute, he didn't receive the ability to control the orb's detonation, and more importantly, he didn't receive the temporary pause on the orb's thirst for magic that would be given to him otherwise. Gale doesn't want to endanger his friends, so he packs up and leaves forever. That means we can't kill him, but it also means that he absolutely, most certainly, is going to die. I accidentally foreshadowed this way back in Act 1, but unfortunately, this is just kind of an L we have to hold. We didn't get much time to mourn our friend Gale though, because when we went to sleep that night, the voice of the Absolute spoke to us. A portal opened up from the artifact and some Gith warriors attacked. Before doing any fighting, I cranked the difficulty way up. Act 1 and Act 2 weren't that hard, but by changing this one setting, I made our enemies much tougher and us much weaker. While fighting the Githyanki, our guardian, Dump, called out to us in our mind and asked us to enter the portal to help him. I had to stay outside until the last possible turn, because more Gith would have come out every turn and I didn't want to miss any. When we did eventually enter the prism though, we found more Githyanki attacking the area that Dump has been guarding this whole time, and finally breaking through his defenses. On our way to help him, there were some intellect devourers attacking the Gith. Weird, right? Well, even weirder, after killing the Gith and heading deeper into the prism, we find this mind flayer under attack. This is the Emperor. He is the true identity of Dump. He just took that other form to not alarm us. I asked him to prove himself, and he told us about how we saved the Night Song and how we opted not to attack Dump when Vlaakith had ordered us to. These are things that only someone who was there for our whole journey would know, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt. The gang and I helped the Emperor fend off the Gith warriors, and in return, he gave us some answers. He told us his whole story, about how he was an adventurer, and how when he traveled to Moonrise Towers, he was infected and turned into a mind flayer. He was a part of the Elder Brain's empire, but he broke free of its grasp and he lived in Baldur's Gate where he ate criminals. Eventually, Gortash discovered the Emperor's true identity and returned him to the Elder Brain, aka the Absolute. He was a thrall once again until he found the Astral Prism and his free will returned to him. That free will was due to this Githyanki, Orpheus, and his psychic powers, for lack of a better term. These powers are why we haven't turned into a mind flayer yet. He's also why the Githyanki are so desperate to retrieve the artifact. That's pretty much all we need to know for now, but at the end of this discussion, the Emperor encouraged me to embrace the change into a mind flayer, as it would give me some pretty nice powers. I'm not interested though, and with a nat 20 to resist the change, I was done here for now. I talked to lae'zel before bed, and she is determined to free Orpheus. We'll worry about that later though, but for now, it's bedtime. In the morning, Shart showed us her new hairdo, and honestly, I think it looks way better than the black hair. lae'zel always makes me laugh with this. She knows that something changed with Shadowheart, but she can't quite place her finger on it. It's finally time to leave camp and enter the town of Rivington. There's two and a half town-ish areas before we reach the big city. At the entrance of the town stands Yenna and her cat Grub. Yenna's mom has passed, though she doesn't really know it, so I gave her some coin to help her out. It's the least I can do to make up for what's gonna happen later. I also should mention these guys before I forget. These are refugees or citizens. They aren't killable, interactable, they're basically just specters that make the game feel more populated, so they're not real people, just ignore them. Just a few steps from Yenna are these folks who are having an argument. Basically, these people have taken up shelter in this man, Arthur's home, and he wants them out. Technically, yeah, they should get kicked out, but eat the rich and all that, so I defended the hobos and Arthur's mercenaries attacked. Thankfully, even on this new difficulty, these people aren't that scary, and I took them out. Arthur pissed off, and the squatters got to keep squatting. A little further down the road, I found this guy, Ferg Droger. When we got here, Shart warned us to be on the lookout for Sharans who might be spawning spying on her, and Ferg is one of them. I'm sure it's a shock, but I killed him too. I also killed these 3 because they are out of the way and I didn't want to forget. Remember in Act 1 when we met Gandrel, the guy who was hunting Astarion? Well, these are his people. We can do a quest for them, but if we do that, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that 1 or 2 of them will disappear when we encounter them next. So to be safe, I just killed them all. They're all grouped up pretty nicely, so I was able to hit several of them at once, which made my life much easier. They would have been tough if I hadn't gotten the jump on them like that, but as they were, I came out on top pretty handedly. Oh, and speaking of Astarion, I just remembered to drink that potion I got from Mirage in Act 2, and now I've got 21 strength, which is pretty high considering the highest you can naturally get to without other buffs is 20. I'm sort of just following my nose at this point, and my nostrils picked up on something in this abandoned windmill. In the basement was a mind flayer. The Emperor notes that it's a newborn, and that I should kill it and take its power. F it, I murdered it in cold blood. My nose took us back outside where I found Tonsure Bellagio. He said something really funny before I crushed him.
But the views are worth it.
The views are worth it. Huh, I couldn't have said it better myself. I rolled up to the kennels next, and oh boy, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Angry Marhaya is the most miserable, cruel, and freakish woman in this entire game. She abuses dogs, and she abuses this guy. If anyone deserves the wrath of the Dark Urge, it's her. And that's exactly what she got. I did just realize, though, that I need to kill little homie and the dogs too, which put a damper on my bloodthirst. I went inside the shop after and killed a few people that were there. I'm not going around killing everyone yet, but I'm just trying to get some of the smaller stuff out of the way. Right by the kennels is a well. The well led me to an underground passage littered with the bodies of refugees. Clearly there was some murder going on here, and if it's not me, it's not right. At the end of the passage there was a guy on his deathbed, a dying Stone Lord thug. We'll talk about the Stone Lord way later, but this guy asks me to put him out of his misery. I did not oblige him though, at least not the way he wanted. I twisted the knife around to torture him, but not because I'm crazy, but because he isn't who he claims to be. This is Orin, the chosen of Baal and the owner of one of the 3 nether stones I need. She's also our rival, and she'll be popping up a lot in this act. She disappeared and I traveled further into this area. That was until I hit a trap that messed up my team. Surely I wouldn't hit another, yeah, I would. That, I'm going to bed. In camp, that girl and her cat that we met earlier were waiting for us. Like I said, her mom is gone and now she's got nowhere to go. Yenna is a good kid, but as I've said like a dozen times up to now, I've got a job to do and even she needs to go. To do that, I need her to stay here, and I need to lose a companion. I have one too many, and to be able to kill Yenna in the future, one of them has to die. It's too much to explain without spoiling, but the only option right now is for me to kill Jaheira. I like Jaheira and I wish that I could keep her around, but for now at least, she's going to be my sacrifice. I went to bed after that and my good buddy Scaleratus paid me a visit. Well, I guess I paid him a visit. He spoke to me in my dream and he gave me a new mission. Kill Orin and take her place as Baal's chosen. I shot awake and memories came flooding back to me. I was a devotee of Baal. No, a spawn of Baal. And it is my right to trump Orin and become a weapon of destruction in Baal's name. Big night for me. The next morning, I reached the end of the path I had been following. Here, there are 2 groups clashing. Members of a group called the Guild, and more of the Stone Lord's goons. I fought alongside the members of the Guild, and together we brought down the Stone Lord's gang. Then, I made sure to attack the Guild people before they disappeared. It was a lot of fighting, but by the end of it, I had gotten a cool new weapon called the Corpse Grinder. Feels like a fitting weapon for someone on my mission, right? I did some looting after all the fighting, and then made my way back to Rivington. There's a fun little spot here called the Circus of the Last Days. To get in, you have to pass the sniff check from this thing. I most certainly did not pass the test because I smelled like, quote, blood. Tasty blood. So delicious. Well, I guess that makes sense considering I am caked in blood. I still managed to riz my way in though, and just walking into this place brought me to level 11, which means I've just got one more level to go after this. Back to the circus, when talking to Zara the Mummy, I realized that the trading menu looks a little different. It just so happens that in between working on Act 2 and 3, there was a big update. I believe patch number 6. No biggie though, just thought I'd mention it. What is a biggie is this guy Akabi. You see, if you pickpocket him, steal his ring, and then play his game, you'll make him very angry. He would usually rig the wheel using that ring, and without it, he can't cheat. Your reward for winning? A trip to this place. A jungle. With dinosaurs. This game's so silly. Why on earth are there dinosaurs? I didn't get to bring my friends with me, but that's okay because I am an absolute powerhouse, and I took most of them on one by one anyways, so I made it out alive. I also grabbed this bad boy on my way out, which I'll never use, but it's a really cool weapon. I'm gonna have to wait to get my revenge on this guy because I can't just go taking off heads quite yet. Instead, I'm putting my head on a statue. This guy and his beautiful wife will make you a statue for holy 5K? Well, hey, money isn't everything, right? We'll come back to the statue thing later. I got a little sidetracked from here. I found Corilla in a bush. I dug up this dead guy and then had a conversation with him, and he told me that he was killed by a dwarf in red clothes. Sweet, I guess I'll keep an eye out for someone like that. I put him back in the casket and walked back into the circus. This guy is the best part of the circus, Dribbles the clown. Dribbles asks for a volunteer, and if I have a Starian with me, I always send him up there because his reaction is so great.
Of course! What fun! I'm going to fucking kill you.
Unfortunately though, Dribbles is a doppelganger, and he attacks whoever you send onto the stage, so sorry buddy. This battle is pretty tough, and once again we're up against one of those pesky displacer beasts. As per usual though, I made my way through it eventually. That fight took a lot out of my team, so I called it a night. We can't seem to get a good night's sleep though, because this time we were confronted by Vlaakith. Vlaakith basically just came here to beg us for help. She wants us to kill Orpheus, and she promises lae'zel that if we do, then Vlaakith will ascend her. lae'zel, though, the beautiful, strong woman she is, told her goddess to kick rocks. Vlaakith didn't like that very much, but there wasn't much she could do about it. I spoke to lae'zel afterwards, and she's pretty set on siding with Orpheus. A quick aside here, I don't really love how quickly both lae'zel and Shadowheart pull full 180s on their beliefs, and then fully commit to the other side. Like, Shadowheart didn't have to devote herself to Selûne that quick. Like, damn girl, take a break. Same with lae'zel. She goes from I am Vlaakith's blade to Orpheus's will above all. I don't know, it's not a big deal, and I'm sure they just want, or maybe need, something to believe in. Before actually knocking out, my statue's here. It looks great. Surely there won't be bodies scattered by its feet by the end of the video, right guys? I woke up and wrapped up our circus fun. This is Zethino, and she's got a fun game you can play. She'll take you and a companion and test your love for each other. Of course, I tested my bond with lae'zel, and I've gotta say, I did fantastic. It's a good way to gain some approval with your partner, and oh, it's Orin. Well, I still had fun. Okay, well, Orin aside, I've still got to clear this place out. I went on a bit of a rampage and killed all of the carnies here. I made sure I was extra careful and didn't let the people at the entrance get away either. Sweet, back to bed. In the morning, we stopped by the Rivington General, this guy, and then I traded with, I'm not even gonna try and say her name. But you know what? There isn't a whole lot more to do here. Like, I think I can start killing some people and it won't interfere with anything. Specifically, all of the people in and around this refugee camp. I'm not gonna show it all because this video is gonna be f***ed up long already, but on screen is the name of all the people I killed in this stretch. Another night of sleep got interrupted, this time by our guardian, or I guess I should just call him the Emperor. He's feeling a bit down because the day before we learned that same dwarf in red clothes that I mentioned earlier has recently killed Duke Stelmane, someone that the Emperor was very fond of. I may be a murder monster death god, but I do like the Emperor and I tried to make him feel better. I wrapped up that list of names I showed before the next morning, but after that I checked out the Open Hand Temple. In the basement area of this place, we can take care of that sentient amulet we grabbed back in Act 1. There's a guy's soul in the amulet and he's been cursed with eternal laughter. He wanted us to take him here to find his granddaughter so that he could pass it off to her. Yeah, he's a real sweetheart, I know. She is dead though, and so he just gets in her dead body, and then he expects us to take the curse for him? I don't know, man, this guy is fucking insane. He attacked me with some other dead folks, but hey, they're already dead, so this was pretty easy. Further into the basement, there's a couple doppelgangers surrounded by corpses. Just like against the monster hunters earlier, I got the jump on them and they got rocked. I feel good about the amount of stuff we've done in Rivington for now, so let's make our way to the next town, Worm's Crossing, and cause some trouble there. To get there, we have to go through these Flaming Fist guards. You definitely don't have to kill them, but what if I just did? I didn't want any innocents to get away, so I just started by killing them. Then the Fist attacked. Not only are there extra Fist here because I've been killing people, so they reinforced their security, but there's also a Steel Watcher to deal with. I've mentioned it a few times now, but with this new difficulty, holy shit. I actually thought this fight was a wrap for me because I was getting whooped. This is good for me though. I've got to learn how to actually fight. That being said, this battle between myself and the Flaming Fist was probably the most brutal, difficult fight we've been through throughout this entire Baldur's Gate journey. I prevailed though, as I always do, and my team and I rode back to camp with some reflecting to do. First thing I did the next day was dye some new camp clothes that I got. Before getting into Worm's Crossing, I stopped and talked to Lens the journalist. She wanted to know about my experience with the Fist at the gate, and I don't think she knows that I killed everybody. Don't worry, I informed her. Now, to be clear, I'm not done with Rivington yet. We'll be back later, but let's just check this place out. Well, after I kill these guards on the other side of the checkpoint. Thankfully, after killing them, the other fist in this city left me alone. One of the places right at the entrance of this town is Sheres's Caress. It's a bar slash brothel slash all-around good times place. Waiting for us here are a few old friends, Voss and Raphael. Voss is begging with Raphael to help him free Orpheus. He doesn't have much luck though, and he passes his mission on to us. Talk to Devilman and find a way to free Orpheus. Well, it just so happens that Raphael has a proposal for us. Though, dear lord, does he talk a lot.
I'm glad you came. I'd ask you to be patient, but you've been patient enough. I'll admit, you've impressed me. Yes, I have the solution to your problem. There is an exchange to be made. I want the crown that dominates the Elder Brain. I have craved it ever since the arch-wizard Carsus created it. I was there the day it all fell apart. The screams, oh, the screams. The hells require order, unity, efficiency, control. When you destroy the brain, and you will because you must, you give the crown to me. In exchange, I give you the hammer now.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure the heat death of the universe happened, we got another big bang, and we're back to where we left off, but Raphael offers us the Orphic Hammer so that we can free Orpheus. That's all he had to say. I can't accept his offer quite yet. I turned him down, I told Voss that I turned him down, and Voss said he'd wait in Baldur's Gate for me to come to my senses. Had I accepted Raphael's offer right away, then we wouldn't see Voss again until the very end of the game, so that's why I did that. With Voss on his way to the city, though, I went back to Pop Pop and got the Orphic Hammer. To get it, I signed a contract that said I would give Raphael the crown of Carsus when the Elder Brain was dealt with. To be totally honest, I didn't know if this was necessary or not, but I figured I'd just go through with it and deal with the consequences later. For now though, I went on a little shopping spree. I love this interaction in Karm's Garm where this guy's like, hey, do you think I should be an adventurer? And you can just shit all over him. I usually go with the nice options in my playthroughs, but this one's just too good to pass on. One shop I ended up at was Danthalon's Dancing Axe. Besides having some good stuff to trade, he also is someone that Chihiro wanted me to meet with. There are some Harpers having a secret meeting here, and after some convincing, he let me in on it. Down under the shop, the Harpers were waiting, except they aren't really Harpers. I read this guy's mind, and he was begging for me to attack the others because they're all secretly doppelgangers. I attacked them like he asked me to, which surprised them and made this a pretty easy fight. Then I killed him too, so, you know. I think I've talked to all the important people here, and while I'm far from done with this place, it's time to move on. To get into the Worm's Rock Fortress, the last stop before the city of Baldur's Gate, I need to find an invitation to Gortash's coronation. There's one in this room in Sheres's Caress, but there's also some ladies about to get down and dirty. That is, until one of them transforms into a Mind Flayer. Just one of these bad boys isn't gonna keep me down, but after I killed it, the other lady here was sad that she wouldn't get to bang it. Yeah, I'm gonna do everyone a favor here. I grabbed the invitation, spoke to the guards blocking off the fortress, and gained entrance without shedding blood. Well, not their blood, I guess. This little section of the game is one of the reasons why I almost didn't go through with doing this challenge. I have been thinking about it non-stop for months, and my heart is racing just talking about it. Let me explain why. You see, inside the fortress, Gortash is being crowned as the new Grand Duke of Baldur's Gate. In this room with him are a metric ton of innocent people. Problem is, and why I've been so anxious about this, is if I attack Gortash, or even just kill a single one of the innocents, all of the other ones in the room will run away and I will miss out on them forever. That's right, almost every person in this room only appears during this one scene, and they are all unique NPCs, meaning I can't let anyone get away. So, in short, I have to kill all of them in one go. Putting it in turn-based mode doesn't even help, because once I attack, we'll roll initiative, and people that don't want to fight will just run away forever. You see my dilemma, right? Now, let's all take a quick ride down memory lane back to Act 1. This rune powder barrel is something I've been holding on to ever since then. My secret weapon, my ace in the hole, whatever you want to call it, it's my only chance at this. The explosion that this thing makes is undeniably huge, but it's not guaranteed to kill everyone by itself, and I also will be faced with not just Gortash's guards, but also around 10 or so steel watchers. To make this work, I used a combination of the rune powder barrel, smoke powder barrels, regular oil barrels, and smoke powder bombs. I finally got a good go in, but then my team ended up getting absolutely slaughtered by the Steel Watchers. To remedy that problem, I respec'd Shart to be a sorcerer so that she would gain access to a spell, Chain Lightning, a very powerful counter to those ever so irritating Steel Watchers. With my evil plan in place, it still took several tries, but by the end of it, I had killed all of the innocent lords and ladies, the Flaming Fist and Gortash's guards, the Steel Watchers, Duke Ravengard, and even Lord Gortash himself. I think this whole process alone took about 4 hours, and I felt like the weight of the world was off my shoulders when it was over. And with so much carnage, my team reached level 12, meaning we are about as strong as we can possibly be now. I grabbed the Netherstone from Gortash, and when I did, the Elder Brain started attacking our mines. The Emperor kept it at bay, but we've got to get Orin's Netherstone before the brain breaks free. I did some looting, and feeling unshackled from this insane task, we went back to camp. I didn't quite get the chance to sleep yet, because in camp, Yenna had made dinner for me. I like Yenna. She's a good kid. I took a bite, and she revealed her secret ingredient. Her cat. Son of a I should have known it was her. I'm getting tired of this freak, but as brutal and vicious as this moment is, it's actually good for me. That means she has kidnapped Yenna and things are going according to plan. That's why I killed Jaheira earlier, because had Jaheira still been alive, Orin would have taken her instead and we would have never gotten the chance to kill Yenna. Orin is here to challenge us to a duel, a battle to become Baal's chosen. We'll get to that much later, but keep that in the back of your heads for now. When we returned to Worm's Rock, I went downstairs and was confronted by the personal guards of the lords and ladies I had killed the day before, as well as some more Steel Watchers and Flaming Fist. Honestly, I totally forgot they were gonna be here. The fight was an absolute slobber knocker, and by the end of it, I was the only one still on my feet. Another night of sleep fixed us right up, only to be met with even more people in the fortress. We fought them, went to sleep, and then in the morning, guess what? Yep, more people to fight. After dealing with them, I took the gang up to the roof area to see if there were any people near where you would normally fight Gortash. There were some more Steel Watchers, and there were also some Black Gauntlet jerks who I was worried would have disappeared. They didn't though, and after another tough battle, we went to bed one more time. We are not done with this place yet, because we still have the whole basement area to do. I fought with the guards in the prison area, and compared to the stuff we've been through in this video alone, I didn't let them give me too much trouble. I talked to Otto Ott, he was rude, so I bashed his brains in, and then I talked to Counselor Floric. I've never been a big fan of hers personally. She just, I don't know, she's not very interesting, I guess. Interesting or not though, I killed her too. Surely we're done here now, right? Well, I feel like if I have to ask that, then you know the answer. Answer. Now, if you don't get it, you will in a minute. Electrify these dragon-shaped torches, and a secret passage will open up. This leads you to the Worm Way. At the entrance, there's a statue of Baldurin. Baldur for short, the namesake of Baldur's Gate. The statue yaps for a while and asks if you are worthy. This is so funny, because like, all you have to do is just say yes, and he takes your word for it. Inside of here, there are some trials for you to complete. I have no particular preference as far as the order I do them in go, but I started this time in the Chamber of Courage. This one is pretty tough because you are swarmed by elementals and you have to survive several waves of them. We're at a late point in the game where every single fight has us knocking on death's door, but like all the fights up until now, we survived. This trial being passed, a statue of Baldur in the main area began to glow, and we were clearly doing something right. That ends now though, because for the next chamber, the Chamber of Strategy, we have to sabotage ourselves. This challenge sees you playing a very similar game to chess. I'm okay at chess, but when you fail too many times, a bunch of undead will appear. These guys are a little tougher than your average skeleton folk, but this room isn't the full extent of them. There's a bunch more of them in the main area, and man, Shart was not messing around. She nearly soloed them all, but this is still not the end. In another room, the Chamber of Justice, there's even more of them waiting for us. After we took care of the ones here though, I came to a worrying realization. There's a unique NPC in the Chamber of Justice by the name of the Judge. The Judge, as you can see, is immune to all types of damage, whether it's physical damage or any kind of magic damage. So then that of course begs the question, what do? Well, after some trial and error, I managed to kill them? I used the spell Polymorph on him, and the statue told me that the Judge was banished, so I think that's the best we're gonna get. With the Judge dead, I just had another room full of undead, these flying books, and these 3 ghost-ish people. There's a puzzle here, but at this point I think we're way past solving puzzles. I think that's it for fighting in this place. Well, except for the worm of the Worm Way, but let's sleep before we face him. Inside of the dragon's sanctum, there is another statue of Baldur. He congratulates you for being found worthy, which, as lae'zel notes, is funny because we really didn't do anything that we were supposed to. The door still opens though, and we are met with the rotten remains of a dragon. As we approach it though, it injects its spirit right into my body and begins to speak through us. I'm getting tired of things hopping into my brain. He asks why we've come here, but when I responded, he clarifies that he's not talking to us. He's talking to the one inside of the astral prism, the Emperor, or as Answer calls him, Baldurin. That's right. The Emperor, our guardian, has been Baldur this entire time. He was the adventurer who was turned into a mind flayer, and apparently he's also the one who killed Answer. The story goes that Answer and Baldurin were friends, and when Baldur had been taken and turned into an illithid, Answer wanted to help him by giving his friend a merciful death. Baldurin didn't want to die though. He actually was pleased with his new powers and potential, and so when Answer wouldn't take no for, well, an answer, Baldur had no other choice but to slay his friend to save himself. And now it's up to us to finish the remaining spirit that lives within Answer's corpse. I've avoided doing full fight breakdowns because this video is going to be really long, but this one is too good to pass on. I started off with Astarion and used Dazzling Ray to blind Answer. He put one more shot into the dragon before his turn was over. Oh yeah, Answer isn't alone by the way. He's got 2 water myrmidons with him, and they can make this fight much more complicated if they're not dealt with quickly. Thankfully, one of them made the mistake of getting really close, and with some divine smites, I got rid of it. Then I made a huge IQ play and had lae'zel knock this one off a cliff, which meant I now only had to fight the big guy. I had Shark cast Cloud of Daggers in case he was planning on standing still, and then threw a fireball on top of that. Answer responded with a lightning breath that hurt Astarion and Shadowheart real bad. He flew a little ways away, and even though blinding him didn't seem to do much last time, I had Astarion try and do it again. He failed, and so on my turn, I got up close and landed some big shots. Shark pelted him with magic missiles because they can't miss, and then hit a shatter that was less than impressive. lae'zel jumped over to the dragon and landed her Soulbreaker attack. She also hit a critical on her distracting strike. Then Answer started charging up an attack that Astarion warned that we should find cover against. I still got some shots in and even healed a bit while trying to pull my team back, but on Answer's turn, I realized that I didn't run nearly far enough away. He fired off his Stormheart Nova, and just watch our health bars. Yeah. These lightning glyphs also appeared that I needed to steer clear from. I spent my next turn healing, but Astarion, with an arrow of dragon slaying, dealt 61 damage to Answer, something that just might keep me in the fight. He didn't have much health left, so I solely focused on attacking. Shark landed some hits, and lae'zel got him down to 2 health, so I thought it was all over. But the big man proved me wrong once again, because in one single attack, he dropped every member of my party except for me. I was our last hope, and while surrounded by lightning glyphs, I went in for the kill. After slaying the dragon, the Emperor came out and spoke to us. He admitted to being Baldur and explained that the first time he escaped the Elder Brain's influence was only because of his good friend Answer. The Emperor finished telling the story I told earlier, but all in all, this encounter isn't a happy one, and nobody is glad that Answer had to be killed. On the body of the dragon is Baldurin's Giant Slayer, the sword that I'll be using for the remainder of this video. It hits like 10 trucks stacked on top of each other. I picked up my friends, and before I left, I also grabbed the Helm of Baldur, something that I will also be using for the rest of this video, because it can get hit by 10 trucks stacked on top of each other. Sorry, I just want to say that again. Gang and I got some rest because in the morning we are headed to the big city. It's pretty insane that we are 14 pages into this script and are just now setting foot into Baldur's Gate, but yeah, this is it. No cutscene or anything, just in the city. Well, there's a cutscene for the Elder Brain losing its mind. With 2 nether stones in my possession, the grasp on the Elder Brain is slipping and it's trying hard to break free. Back to the city though, my first stop is at the Elf Song Tavern. Holy pee and poop, dude. There's like 100 people in this place alone. This is gonna be rough. I don't have to worry about it for now though. What I'm here for is a room in the tavern. It's kind of embarrassing to say, but I didn't even know this was possible on my first couple playthroughs because I guess I just never talked to the right person here before. But boom, here we are with our very own room. No more sleeping outside in the dirt. My companions didn't really seem to notice, but hey, I was excited. The next thing I needed to do was to take care of some unfinished business. We're skipping pretty deep into the city to visit Sorceress Sundries. I did a little trading, collected some taxes that were not for me, and then asked about the Night Song. You guys remember the Night Song? Or I guess I should call her Dame Aelin? Well, Leroarcan, the wizard that owns this place, wants to get his hands on her. I don't like this guy at all. He's just an all-around head, but he does offer me a solution to my Aelin problem. In Act 2, I realized I couldn't kill her myself, so I'm gonna need his help to rid myself of her for good. I talked to Aelin and told her that Lae'zel is looking for her. She's so sick though, dude. I told her about him and she's just like, alright, bet, let's go this guy up. She also just started roasting him when she got to his tower. I forgot how cool she is. Cool or not though, I unfortunately have to turn on her for the sake of this challenge, and on the side of Lae'zel, our battle began. I didn't realize she was gonna have help though, and let me tell you, this fight was fucking brutal. To even have a chance at killing Aelin, I first had to handle her angel friends, but before I even got a turn, Shart was down and Astarion and I were hurt. They're also resistant to radiant damage, which is a big bummer because we all know at this point, I just love spamming Divine Smite. Astarion tried to attack and just got dropped for it. I won't waste your time with the whole rest of the fight, but just know that we barely got through it all and that Lae'zel was no help whatsoever. It was me though that ended up finishing off Aelin, and though it was a sad kill, it was a weight off my shoulders. I wasn't done fighting yet though, not even close. I fixed my team up and then dropped the hammer on Wizard Boy. I killed all of his friends as well, and life from Ramazith's tower has officially been extinguished. Well, I also had to kill all the mage hands patrolling outside, but you know. After all the fighting, I went into the vaults and did some looting there. Not a whole lot to note really, but I got some decent, or at least expensive stuff. Then we all went to bed as we so often do, and once again I was startled awake. It was lae'zel, and she kinda scared me by saying there was something I should see. We went outside and watched the sunrise. This is what she wanted to show me. She told me about how she used to hate the sunrise, and she only lived for blood and battles, but now she sees more. She sees beauty. Now she revels in sights like the sunrise and revels in us. lae'zel was having a hard time explaining her emotions, but what she made clear is that she wants us to stay with her when this is all over. I actually had tears in my eyes, not because of what she said, but because I know what's to come. I told her I would stay with her no matter what, and we continued to watch the sunrise together. Okay, well, let's go back to killing people, shall we? I've got someone specific in mind, and they are waiting for us in the sewers. On the way to our target, I found some ballers, nice, attacking some refugees. I, of course, took care of the ballers, but the refugees ran off and took care of themselves. Nice. Okay, well, back to what I was doing, here they are. The two people I've been looking for. Voss and his dragon, Kudanos. You know, the big red dragon he rode off on in Act 1? Yeah, this is him, but in a smaller form. I talked to Voss and told him that we got the Orphic Hammer, and he rewarded us by giving lae'zel a super good sword, the Silver Sword of the Astral Plane. But then, they disappeared. Okay, so I loaded back before I talked to them and just attacked them this time. New problem though, when it reached Voss's turn, he just disappeared again. Son of a... Alright, this is fine. We figured out harder problems than this. Well, actually not really. We've sort of just given up on stuff like this, and I asked you guys for help, but I can't do that this time because this is the end of the story, so I'm on my own. All that to say, I needed to get creative, and creative I got. Let's break it down. So if I attack them, they disappear, right? But if I turn Voss to stone, which I did, then I can actually attack Kudanos without any reaction. But if I kill Kudanos, then Voss will break free and disappear. If I just kill Voss while he's a statue, then Kudanos will teleport away without a chance to attack him. So here's the solution I came up with. I lowered Kudanos' health until he was almost dead. Then I did the same with Voss, and when they were both almost out of health, I attacked them at the same time. It looks like Kudanos disappeared, I know, but in the action log, it literally says Shadowheart killed Kudanos, and Voss's dead body is right here, so this is certainly good enough for me. lae'zel wasn't mad at me like I thought she would be, and I still got the silver sword from Voss's corpse. All in all, a big win for your boy. Usually I'd go to sleep after some fun like that, but I don't really need to yet. Instead, I went back to Rivington to make good on a promise I made in Act 2. Wulbren, you better get ready, cause I'm gonna in Act 3. You hear me? You Bongle. In this cellar is where I should have found Wulbren, but unfortunately I must have missed him or something because he was nowhere to be found. A little concerning, yes, but I still managed to kill all the Iron Hand gnomes in this place. There was only one other spot that I could think Wulbren would be, and I did not want to be right about it. Back in Baldur's Gate, I found Wulbren outside of the Steel Watch Foundry, with the place in flames. Son of a because I killed Gortash during his coronation, Wulbren took it upon himself to blow up the foundry, which means I don't get to do it, and I may have missed out on a massive amount of NPCs. At least that's what I thought at first. I killed this bag and then went to sleep. That night, our rest was interrupted yet again, this time by some vampires that were looking for Astarion. We all defended Astarion and killed the vampire attackers. In the morning, my concern grew as I found that Volo's assailants were all gone. I still killed Volo, but I had some serious investigating to do to make sure that I didn't completely fumble this challenge. The Steel Watch Foundry had been destroyed, and so that means the NPCs that were in there are all dead, so check there. Then, on my way to Flim Cargo, I attacked these fisher folk. I also got this really funny shot of me and the gang staring down at someone. I don't know, I had to include this somewhere. Inside of the Flim Cargo building, I killed all of the big pups, and then when I arrived at where you would normally find the submarine that takes you to the Iron Throne, I found a letter of resignation. The letter is written by Red Hammer, the guy who would take you to the Iron Throne, and he mentions in the letter that the Iron Throne sank and everyone inside was murdered, so another big fat check there. So what this basically means is that I traded all of the people at the coronation for Volo's attackers and Red Hammer. It's obviously not a perfect way for it all to work out, but I'm content with the decision, and I think it's the better of two evils for sure. We've got a lot to do in the city of Baldur's Gate, and one of those things is to resolve Oscar's quest from Act 1. I killed him on the first go around, but I saved him on my second run, and so he's here at Lady Janeth's estate. Before I even got to him though, I went through the entire estate and wiped out all of the ghosts. I made sure I didn't miss any of the souls or skulls either, which just leaves us with Oscar and Lady Janeth. Oscar has obviously been possessed, and gods above bless Lady Janeth because she is so patient and nice to this sucker. Oscar attacked me with some ghosts, all good, doesn't really faze me at this point, but then Janeth asked me to help save him from whatever's going on here. Upstairs behind this wall is a secret room. In the room there is a painting of a smiling woman. If you attack the painting, then you'll be faced with a few tormented souls. It turns out though that they are infinite, and after about 6 or so waves, I gave up on trying to kill them because they weren't going anywhere. In this room, I also found a note to Oscar from a Mr. Mystic Carrion, and took that as a lead. I slept before meeting with him, but when we woke up, I went straight to Mystic Carrion's place and spoke the secret words to gain entry. Oh, no I didn't. I broke the door. Never mind. I wrote that I spoke the words, but I lied. Hey, is it racist if I say that this guy looks like Withers? Can you be racist to dead people? I don't know. I'm kind of over this quest at this point, so I murdered Mystic Carrion and all of his dead, undead friends. I made sure not to miss the ghouls upstairs as well. Killing Mystic Carrion doesn't really mean much though if I can't find his heart, because he'll just revive indefinitely until I find it and destroy it. On my way to find the heart, I got attacked by these fish guys. I killed them all, and also accidentally killed some innocents in the process. This guy, Thrumbo, had Mystic Carrion's heart, so I killed him too and then destroyed the heart. I know we got a bit sidetracked there, but I haven't finished Lady Janeth's quest yet. I went back to the estate and used a special torch to destroy the ominous painting, and when I did, a ghost lady came out. She confronted Oscar and Janeth, and it turns out that this woman was Oscar's lover, I think. I don't know. Like I said, I'm over this quest, so I just attacked. I killed the echo of a lost love along with all of her ghost friends. Janeth wised up and dumped his dumb ass after all this was over, and while I feel for her, she is unfortunately going to be stuck with him whether she likes it or not, because they are going to the underworld together. Not a very happy ending. I slept again and then finished this quest off by killing the butler guy. We are far from done killing things. In fact, we've barely gotten started. I made a visit to the Stormshore Tabernacle near the entrance of the city and snuck into the basement area. Down here, there are some offerings to several different gods and goddesses, and if you steal those offerings, then you will be cursed. The curse makes it so that celestial beings come out of your body when you get knocked out, and they are no joke. Killing them all was a massive pain in the ass, and I had to spend a good many scrolls to keep bringing my friends back, but when it was over, I hit the sack. In camp, I talked to lae'zel, and oh my god, she's actually gonna kiss me! Aww, and it's so cute. Man, these challenges suck ass because I always get attached to the characters like this. Back to killing people. There's another quest I'd like to get out of the way, and we start it here at the Flaming Fist headquarters. This woman lost her daughter, and the Flaming Fist aren't being much help. I told her I'd do some investigating for her, and that led me to the Blushing Mermaid, the bar where Laura lost her daughter. Yeah, not exactly Mother of the Year. I spoke to Captain Grizzly, the owner of this place, I think, and she told me that Laura is crazy, and even offered me $3,000 to take care of her. Well, we'll come back to Captain Grizzly, but I almost forgot that I've got a separate section of this quest to do before I get any further. There's a group of people that have gathered in this abandoned home that claim that they are hag survivors. There's one person here that you should recognize. What? Oh, she looks a little different now, huh? Well, this is Mayrina, the girl we saved from Ethel on the second go-around of Act 1. She's a sheep now, which is cool. Not sure what happened there. In this house, there's a cursed doll. I used the spell Remove Curse on it, and that turned Mayrina back into a person. Turns out that this guy is actually working for Auntie, the hag, and once he showed his true form, my team diced him up. Then to seal the deal here, I also killed Mayrina, her dead-ass husband, and the other 2 hag survivors. Now, I know that might all seem out of left field, but I did that because old Captain Grizzly is actually our good friend Auntie Ethel. Ethel tells us that Laura's daughter, Vanra, is actually inside of her, and she's going to turn into a hag like Ethel. That is f***ing gross. Ethel ran off, and some of the patrons in the bar revealed that they were actually disguised like Ethel was, and they attacked. Chain lightning is one hell of a drug, man. I chased after Ethel by going into the cellar of this place and going through this wall. Before reaching her, I did battle with these poor souls that Ethel took over, kind of like the ones in the place where we fought her for the first time. The real Captain Grizzly is also among them, and she, like them, was killed. All of this nonsense has led up to this, our final encounter with Auntie Ethel. Like I said, she's got Vanra inside of her, so if I kill her, then I kill the kid, which is actually exactly what I need to do. I absolutely demolished Ethel, and then she threw up Vanra, who was dead, and then she died too. Except not really. See, I forgot to get rid of these mushroom things before killing her, and the mushrooms revive and heal Ethel, so she got right back up at full health, but Vanra was still dead. Hey, fine by me, I had to kill the kid anyway. It took a handful of turns to destroy all of the mushrooms, but when they were all gone, I once again killed Ethel. For real this time. Right? She's dead, right? God, I hope she's dead. I finished off this quest by visiting Laura and telling her about her daughter's death. She started running away, no idea where she would have gone, but before she could get too far, I put her down as well. Hopefully she can be with her daughter somewhere now. Or not. I don't know. I, of course, got some rest after that mess, but we got up and went downstairs into the Elf Song Tavern to check out the Emperor's old stomping grounds. I was stopped by Chef Rovere, though, and he asked, well, he told me to go kill some rats in the cellar. I like getting paid, so I went down there and obliterated those poor rats. He gave me my money, and I got back to what I was doing. In the cellar, there's a hidden door that leads to the Knights of the Shield hideout. We got in there and found some Githyanki waiting for us. The Githyanki are tough. I am dating one after all, so this fight wasn't easy. The main challenge though is not killing these guys that are holding the portals open. If you let them, they'll keep summoning reinforcements through the portals. I kept killing them for a while, but was starting to think they might be infinite. Of course, as soon as I wrote, "Do they summon infinitely?" in my notebook, the last bit of backup came through and they closed the portals on their own. Sweet! I finished them off and had done all the killing I needed to do here. I looted some of the Emperor's old stuff, none of it that exciting to be honest, and then we all went to bed. Man, what does a lady gotta do to get some sleep around here? Well, tonight's interruption is brought to you by the Emperor, who has his shirt off. Huh. Okay, look man, I'm gonna level with you. Usually when I play this game, I just make my guardian someone attractive, and that's because you can bang the Emperor. I thought about it for a good while and decided, hey, let's do it. He turned back into Dump, and we... Man, okay. I regret this. This is weird. Not only am I cheating on lae'zel, but I'm also cheating on Lydia through Dump, so it just, yeah. Can we all pretend that this didn't happen? Okay, cool. Thanks. I'm gonna go kill some more people to get my mind off of it. Actually just spent the next while killing a bunch of people that are sort of, I don't know, miscellaneous. Please enjoy this quick murder montage. Okay, I was gonna include this in the montage, but it's too crazy not to talk about. This is the Society of Brilliance's Lodge, and oh dear God, has something bad happened. Inside this portal, we find someone we've technically met before, Pataris. That's how he says his own name, eat me. He is that little son that hatched from the Githyanki egg that we gave to Lady Esther. Looks like her theory about Gith being born violent might just have some merit to it, huh? Or she got unlucky. I could be either, I guess. Regardless, everyone in the society is dead, and I did the world a favor by adding Pataris to that list of names. And it looks like he took care of Esther for me. Thanks, man. Okay, it's time for us to go on another quest, and this one is big. Like, really big. Oh wait, I forgot. I had a big battle with some ballers in the Bloom Ridge Park. My bad. Okay, anyways, this place here is the Devil's Fee, a cute little shop full of curious curios, and I'm just kidding. There's a pentagram upstairs. We'll come back to that, but first I need to talk to Helsik. Helsik recognizes us from a previous visit and even has Scleratus' Goddess's hat. I gave her some coin to jog my memory, and she told me about her little side business, breaking people into the hells. Apparently, we've done this already in the past. I'm pretty sure that's how Gortash got his hands on the crown of Karsus, actually, but I'm not interested in that right now because what I need to do is break into the House of Hope, Raphael's home in hell. She offered to do it for 20K, but I convinced her that I'd get her a souvenir instead, and she agreed to that deal. She gave me the supplies I needed to complete the ritual upstairs, and with the components in the right spots, we had our very own portal to hell. We are greeted in the House of Hope by a woman named, well, Hope. Hope is a little all over the place, but what I gathered is that she's stuck in this place and wants to be freed. We'll come back to Hope later, but before she left, she gave us some disguises. They're just clothes, but I guess they'll keep people from suspecting anything suspicious. After talking to Hope, I ran into the Infernal Mason. I killed him to see if doing so would cause any trouble, but nope. I think we're in the clear. If you go outside and jump along this rock path, you'll come to find Raphael? Oh, no, this is Harlip. He's basically Raphael's sex toy, and because Raphael wants to bang himself, Raphael has taken on Harlip has taken on Raphael's form. He asks to play a game, and to be totally honest, I couldn't remember what happens if you say yes, so I told him I'd play. He told me to take my clothes off, and look, I can't show you what happens next because I like getting paid for my videos, but we didn't do anything too crazy. Oh, and he turned into a her, and then we fought. The whole thing is kind of silly, and Harlip is really annoying because it just keeps disappearing after getting hit, but I killed it and all of the imps that came with it. On Harlip's body was a key to Raphael's safe, and inside of the safe is a note written by the big man himself. The note reveals the password to a barrier surrounding our contract, which is incredibly convenient, but hey, I think we've earned a little convenience. In the room where our contract is sitting, there's a unique NPC named the Archivist. On the other side of the House of Hope, there's a guy named Newbalden. If you attack one without being around the other, then one of them will disappear. I put it on turn-based mode, had Astarion attack Baldur, and then I killed the Archivist while he was talking to me. Then I ripped up the contract, and I could sense that Raphael was on his way. I also grabbed the Amulet of Vigor and the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength, the souvenir that I told Helsik she could have for helping me. When I left this room, there were like a billion enemies waiting for me, and I'm not gonna waste your time here, but I killed them all and it took forever. I healed up, shoutouts to this little tub thing, and before going to save Hope, I killed the Eternal Rat. I descended into the prison area of the House of Hope and did battle with the enemies there. They're not that scary, to be honest, at least not compared to what's to come. I freed Hope, destroyed all of the petrified debtors, and went upstairs to face the final boss. The way we came in is blocked off by Raphael. He's got Corilla and Yurgir by his side, and he is not happy. But he said something he shouldn't have. He hates kittens. He's out of his f***ing mind if he thinks I'm not going to destroy him for that. I love kittens, and I didn't bother trying to convince Yurgir to side with me. Bring it on, big guy. Down comes the claw.
Get ready for battle!
I know I just talked big, but we got off to an awful start. In just a few turns, Astarion went down, Shart went down, and lae'zel was hurt bad. Surely this is where a normal person would load back and reset the situation, but I'm not normal. I'm f***ing crazy. I started my counterattack by having Hope unleash her divine intervention. It killed Corilla and did big damage to everyone else, but it also got Hope killed. A sacrifice that I would unfortunately have to live with. I didn't have another big attack like that though, at least not one of my own making. I teleported as far away from everyone as possible, and then lae'zel dropped my secret weapon, something I've been holding on to since I killed those Iron Hand gnomes earlier. 2 rune powder barrels. The fire ignited the barrels, and everyone except for Raphael, lae'zel, though she was down, and myself were killed by the blast. I'm back in the fight. I laid into Raphael as hard as I could, and I did some decent damage. That unfortunately wasn't going to be enough though, because he turned into Super Devil, and damn near killed me. I was in deep trouble, so I drank a potion of speed and did a little healing. I hit him again, and then before my turn was up, I threw a healing potion at lae'zel. She got up and returned the favor by healing me back to full health. I, once again, was back in the fight. Raphael knocked her right back down, a testament to how powerful he is in this form, and I started having flashbacks of our fight with Answer. To even have a chance at clutching this, I took on my giant form that is granted to me by Baldur's sword. I was hitting harder in this form, and Raphael and I went back and forth until I landed a divine smite that was just barely enough to kill the monster. I revived my friends, took Raphael's armor for myself, and got the hell out of there. The Emperor popped into my brain and was absolutely baffled by our actions, which was just the laugh I needed after such an intense battle. I took the world's biggest, fattest nap after that. In the morning, I told Hellsick that she got scammed and then attacked her. She was aided by these golden creatures, and like I said earlier, just about every fight these days is a near-death experience, but near death ain't death, and we came out on top. Super quick and random detour, here's Gale's cat. At least I think it's his cat. It would be weird if they looked the same, sounded the same, and yeah, she's dead. We've come very far in the game, but there's actually a companion we have yet to meet. To start the quest that leads to finding him, I went into the underground area of the city into the guild hall. This here is Nine Fingers, the guild master and someone who can help us find who we're looking for. Unfortunately though, she only wants to talk to Jaheira and won't exactly take no for an answer. Well, I've still got Jaheira's decaying corpse around here somewhere, so welcome back. I got Jaheira all set up with some new digs and then brought her to Nine Fingers. Jaheira told Nine Fingers that the person we're looking for is a man named Minsk, a name that would be familiar to you if you played Baldur's Gate 1 and I think 2. It turns out though that Minsk has taken on the moniker of Stone Lord, and he's been causing trouble for Nine Fingers, enough for her to want him dead. She knows where he'll strike next, but isn't willing to tell us. Asking around the guild a bit, Uktar told us that Minsk should be at the counting house sometime soon. I wasted no time in heading right there. The counting house is basically a big bank, and in the basement there is a vault where Minsk is planning to attack. I cracked the vault the old-fashioned way, just trying every combination until I got it right, and then inside we came upon a strange scene. Minsk emerged from a mimic, and he wasn't alone. He was accompanied by Jaheira? Well, we're pretty familiar with doppelgangers at this point, but we'll have to get back to them in a minute because both because both Minsk and Jaheira disappeared and we were left here to clean up their allies. No biggie, they're not that exciting, but we'll have to come back to the counting house to finish off the innocents another time. Minsk escaped somewhere into the sewers under the city and we went after them. Before I could find him though, I was stopped by this guy Alis. Alis is certifiably insane and he attacked us with his stinky friends. This fight is a major pain in the ass because not only are there a lot of them, but the ground is covered in grease. I know, boo-hoo, but I got my hands real dirty and killed them all. Further into the sewers, I ran into this guy who was surrounded by empty sleeping potion bottles. Kinda sad, but I put him out of his misery. We're getting close to where Minsk is hiding, but there's one more battle before we can confront him, and that battle is with these Baldurs. They summoned a murder of crows, but I've battled actual devils in actual hell, so this wasn't much fun. Just a little ways away though, I found where Minsk was hiding. Earlier, I mentioned that he's a companion, but frankly, I don't need him. I used my Slayer form and quite literally tore into him. Jaheira disapproved, we'll get back to that, but Minsk is dead. The rest of the people here were actually kind of pushovers. I was expecting a bigger challenge, honestly. Fun fact though, Boss Friol, the leader of the Zhentarim that I'm currently murdering, would actually have been Roa Moonglow from Act 1 if I hadn't already killed Roa. The fight was over though, and Jaheira was livid that I killed Minsk. She even left the party, but I can't let her get away. I put her down for the second time in this video. And I also had to end poor little Boo. I've never really bonded with Minsk, but I was bummed having to kill Boo and Jaheira again. With Astarion back in my party, I think it's time that we wrap up the Dark Urge questline. Well, it's actually more like we start the questline, because frankly, we haven't even scratched the surface yet. The quest is a long and arduous one, but one that starts with solving the murders of the Open Hand Temple. This little sorry, that was aggressive. This jerk, Valeria, is in charge of the investigation. I found the murder weapon way back when we fought those doppelgangers under the temple, but apparently that wasn't enough evidence. I did a little more digging and found a list of targets. I guess that was enough for Valeria to lift a finger, or I guess like a toe, and she told me to go seek out Devella Fountainhead, a flaming fist that is working much harder to solve these murders. We'll find Devella in a minute, but first I'm gonna stop by the wine festival. Hey, remember 20 pages ago when I said we're on the lookout for a dwarf in red clothes? Well, look who we finally found. He's here to murder this woman, Cora. I got in his way though, and all hell broke loose. I did battle with Dolar's shadow clones, but I may have gone a little too crazy and killed everyone else at the festival. Gee, these accidents just keep happening, don't they? The doppelgangers got doppeled, and I went chasing after Dolar. He made his way further into the city to assassinate this guy, Figaro Pennygood. I told him to take his dirty hands off my prey, and yet another battle began. This time, it was against the real Dolar, and I didn't hold back against him. Man, even at the end of the game, Paladin is just so damn strong. I took care of his little goons, and in the process, I may have also killed Figaro and that fist, Devella Fountainhead, that we were sent to find. When the fighting was said and done, I was approached by a man named Ulfaith. I'm not sure if he's a Dirge-specific character or not, because I've never seen him before to my knowledge, but he was creepy and turned out to be a doppelganger. Before I get any further, I should probably get some rest. I found a dress on Figaro's body, and man, does it look great. The red really suits me, I think. Gender envy aside, the next place I need to go to progress the Dark Urge quest is to the Murder Tribunal. Guarding the place we need to go are these 3 guys. They are no joke, but I've said it maybe 30 times now, getting the jump on them really helped. Still though, I wanted to be at 100% for this next section, so I went back to sleep. Inside the door they were guarding is an important man, Saravok and Chev. Saravok is the main antagonist of the first Baldur's Gate game, and while his inclusion in this game is a little unnatural, he is pretty cool. He's kind of like us, a descendant of Baal. I'm also about 65% sure that he's our grandfather, but I may have misunderstood him. Anyways, Saravok does us a favor and fills in the remaining gaps in our memory. We once were Baal's favorite. We worshipped Baal, and we were unmatched in our bloodlust. We were so distracted by that bloodlust that Orin was able to take us down and steal our place. Saravok lets us know that if we're looking for her, we're in the wrong place, but he does tell us where we can find her. He also tells us that the challenge that Orin issued earlier was that so she could kill us and offer us to Baal, making her the unmatched chosen of Baal. That's not why we're in this place though. We are here to become an unholy assassin. To do so, we need to make a sacrifice, and oh boy, look who they got for us to kill. Honestly, this is gonna feel good. Yeah. It did. We were baptized in blood and had officially become an unholy assassin. When I emerged, I found the echo of Abzagal, and after I traded with him, I turned on the Murder Tribunal. See, I only needed to go through all of this so that Abzagal would appear, and now that that's done, I have no use for anyone here. Saravok is powerful, but without some more efficient backup, even he isn't gonna stop our squad. I killed his other echoes and then finished him off myself. I had not only become an unholy assassin, but I had also dismantled the Murder Tribunal. Today, we've made great strides in killing every NPC. I actually started the next day by going back underground and finishing up some business with the Nine Fingers. See, after the Stone Lord mess, the Zhentarim turn on her and there's a big battle in the guild hall. I helped the guild fight them off, but don't worry, we'll come back here and take care of them later. Back to finding Orin though, I've got a couple more distractions in the way. First, I killed some cranium rats. Then I killed the voiceless penitent and took the skull from his body to give to Saren's corpse. This gave her a ghost form, and I killed the ghost, I guess. I also went into the ancient lair and battled a huge group of undead, which was honestly way tougher than I was prepared for. Still got it done, but damn, just barely. I was finally ready to go to the Temple of Baal, but of course, on the way there, we were stopped again. The fight this time was with some Ballers, a trial you have to pass to reach the temple. You could end the trial quicker by killing this guy, but I had to make sure I killed all of the people here before I took care of him, because I didn't want to miss anyone. And I don't think I did. I passed the trial and descended deeper into the temple. Waiting for me at the entrance was our friend Scaleritis. He told me about how serving Orin isn't nearly as cool as when he's with us, and when Orin kills him every day, he doesn't even bust. Well, okay, he didn't say that, but that was pretty much the gist of it. We're finally here. We've reached the Temple of Baal and the climax of the Dark Urge quest line. Orin was here and standing over Yenna, that girl we let stay in our camp like an hour ago. Now, I knew this was gonna happen, but watching Orin kill Yenna was still kind of a shock. I don't know, I didn't think she was really gonna do it. It made me remember that I wasn't facing a normal opponent. This is Orin. She's defeated the Dark Urge before, but she hasn't beaten me. Orin and I took our places and our duel began. She ran up and attacked with her daggers. I returned in kind by landing some big shots on her. She missed her next attacks and even got herself charmed. Orin was all talk. All this build up just for me to absolutely annihilate her. Orin used what bit of life she had left to try and fight back, but she sunk into a puddle of blood. Scaleritis told me that Baal was coming, and through Scaleritis' now thoroughly stabbed body, Baal began to speak to us. He told us he had a gift for us, an offering of his affection. He said, "I will use this gift to build mountains of corpses and to truly destroy this world. It is what you were made for," he says. That line kind of f***ed me up for a minute, because he couldn't possibly know how right he is. I mean, I literally made Dumfries, my character, to be someone who would kill everyone. Destroying the world is a sad fate, but it's what we're here to do. I accepted Baal, and with a heavy heart, I became his chosen. I would claim the crown of Karsus and dominate the world, fill it with destruction, and actually kill every NPC. I know that kind of felt like the end. I mean, it is sort of the end for the Dark Urge quest, but we've still got a lot more work to do before we're good and done with this playthrough. I took Orin's Netherstone and the Emperor emerged to check it out himself. With all of the stones, the location of the Elder Brain was revealed to us. The Emperor warns that once we go to that place, there will be no turning back, and to finish our business before we get there. I felt uneasy about all the ball stuff, but I felt worse for Yenna. She's just so innocent and nice. It feels pretty bad how things turned out for her. The killing in the temple isn't over quite yet. I took on my Slayer form and started killing all of the ball cultists that remained here. I'm glad they didn't interfere in my duel with Orin because they, collectively at least, were much tougher than she was. I made sure to get the ones in Orin's bedroom as well and found the pool of blood that we left when Orin attacked us. This is where you would normally find the Dark Urge's body if you weren't playing as them, and it's cool that the blood is still here regardless. Before I left, I used a spell to speak with Yenna's dead body. There was one thing that she said that made me want to throw up from sadness. I asked her who I should tell about her death, and she said Grub and me. The only two people that were still there for her. Man. Let's get out of here. Sub-stories aren't done yet because Scaleritus was waiting in camp for us. He's technically immortal, but if I release him from our services, then he'll get literally folded. Man, day all around, huh? The next day, I woke up and put Yenna's body in a pretty spot in Rivington, where she could hopefully rest in peace. Okay, let's pull it together because I've still got an entire genocide to commit. Also, Scaleritus is still here and I can't interact with him, so I'm pretty sure it just glitched. I don't know, I did what I was supposed to. When I went to the city, I found people turning into mind flayers. I helped the Flaming Fist fight them off, but this was a clear sign that the Elder Brain was breaking free. I took care of this group, but then at the entrance of the city there was another battle. Weirdly though, the Steel Watch was also attacking me for some reason. Turns out it wasn't just some reason. After doing some research, I found that if you don't destroy the Steel Watch and instead kill Gortash first, then the Steel Watch will get taken over by the Absolute, the Elder Brain, and they'll attack you. So now every Steel Watcher in the city is out to get me, and they are usually accompanied by some Flaming Fist, which means we are officially public enemy number 1. Great. I tried to do a little shopping but got annoyed with the constant fighting, so I just moved on to the next quest. We made our way towards Cazador's palace, stopping to fight some of his thralls on the way, and once we were inside, we wasted no time attacking. I killed some more thralls, and then found Godi. Godi. This guy used to torture Astarion, and while yes, I will have to kill Astarion, I still don't like him. I killed another thrall and then used the ring and dictionary I found to break the seal on this huge door. Behind the door was a small army of wolves, werewolves, and other assorted animals. We tore our way through them and delved deeper into Cazador's freaky dungeon. On the way to Cazador, we found some people locked up. Turns out that some of these people, this guy specifically, were brought here by Astarion. He'd bring them to Cazador, assuming Cazador would feed on them, but he was really turning them into vampire spawn and keeping them locked away for his vampiric ascension ritual. There's also some kids locked in here who were taken away from that monster camp that we slaughtered earlier. We'll take care of them pretty soon, but before we can do anything else, we need to face Cazador himself. We approached the vampire and he and Astarion started fighting with each other. Astarion fell right into Cazador's trap though. Cazador swept him away and added him into the ritual circle. All the elements he needed to ascend were here. The only thing left in his way was us. Cazador is usually a huge pain during this fight, and he opened up by tearing up Shart and lae'zel. By the time it was even my turn, Shart was down. I went absolutely ham though. I drank a potion of speed, which gave me some extra attacks, and by the end of it, Cazador was dead. That is huge. That freed Astarion, and though it still took a good bit of fighting, we managed to kill all of Cazador's backup. Astarion then ripped Cazador from his coffin and had a terribly evil idea. Astarion wanted to hijack the Ascension ritual, but to do it, he needed a replacement for himself. He linked his mind to mine, and through my eyes, he looked at himself and carved the runes on his back into Cazador. That meant he could use Cazador in his place for the ritual, and it could be completed as intended. Astarion grabbed Cazador's staff and spoke the magic words. The ascension began, and I opted not to stop him. The ritual was completed by killing and absorbing the power of all of Cazador's vampire spawn, including the people and kids we saw locked up just a little bit ago. Astarion was finally free of Cazador's influence, but now was no better than him. He talked about how he would make the world lay at his feet, but unfortunately, this world isn't his, it's mine. In the very room where Astarion ascended, achieving true freedom, he was killed at the hands of his friend. Okay, well that was another major bummer, but that means I am down a man, and because there's no other living companions, I need to talk to Withers. He has hirelings that you can take as companions, and I made one. Now, you guys gotta promise not to make fun of me, okay? I worked really hard on him, and I'm really putting myself out there creatively, so just be nice, please. This is Astarion. He's He's a half-fighter, half-rogue elf who has a haunting past and a craving for blood. I'm proud of him. I haven't seen another character like him before, honestly. With my new teammate in tow, I went to sleep for the billionth time. There's another person in our party who has some unfinished business in Baldur's Gate, so let's go address it. I respect Shadowheart to be a Tempest Domain cleric once again because I felt like she should be a cleric for the end of her quest. We got attacked by a Steel Watcher and some Flaming Fist on the way, but we took care of them like we always do. We pulled up to the House of Grief where the Sharans have taken up residence, and I let Shadowheart do all of the talking. Shart talked to the Mother Superior, and we were invited into the depths of this place. We went downstairs, and Viconia, the Mother Superior, asked us to give up Shart. I told her to f*** off, and the Sharans attacked. There's a lot of them, but I'm not gonna let that stop me. Like Hope did in the House of Hope, I had Shadowheart use her divine intervention. I probably should have left the HUD on to see the damage it caused, but I just wanted to see it clearly. Honestly, I wasn't incredibly impressed. She also let a destructive wave rip, and between those two attacks, I had thinned the herd a little bit. She got knocked for doing that though, and it was up to us to finish off everyone else. It was hard to do with clouds of darkness all over the place, but after like 15 straight minutes of fighting, we won the battle. We confronted Viconia and asked about Shadowheart's parents. She told us where they were, but she also told us about how Shart had been torturing them for years without even knowing that they were her parents, which is insanely f***ed, even for me. Shadowheart didn't falter though, and she finished off Viconia herself. Just past this room, we found her parents. They were really alive this whole time. They revealed Shadowheart's real name, Jennifer. As we talked to them though, Shar got the last laugh. She has cursed Shadowheart to have a permanent wound that Shar can make hurt whenever she sees fit. She offers an ultimatum: kill your parents and be free of this wound, or let them live and have to deal with the wound forever. Her parents are actually the ones who offered some guidance. They want to pass on, and they want Shart to be free. That's ultimately what Shadowheart chose to do. Her parents turned into moon motes and went to be at peace with their goddess Selûne. Shadowheart was obviously upset, but unfortunately there was no point in comforting her. I took her to her special hiding place here and murdered her. I gathered some night orchids and laid them around her body. She told me once long ago that night orchids were her favorite flower. Rest in peace, Shart. I'll miss you. I almost forgot about another NPC in this place, Nocturne, but I came back for her too. Like with the death of Astarion, I now had a void in my team that needs to be filled, and I made another new companion. Remember, you're not allowed to laugh. I put my heart and soul into this character. This is Shadowlung. She's a half-elf Tempest of Domain cleric who worships Selûne and has a hazy past. Again, I think I did pretty good at creating a really one-of-a-kind character. I tried to save my companions for the end, and I'm keeping lae'zel by my side, so that means we've reached that special time that we come to in all of these challenges. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the slaughter phase. I couldn't possibly show every single kill without editing it really quickly and giving you guys a seizure, so I'm just gonna show you some of the kills and let the credits roll with the names of the people that I killed in this phase. Please sit back and I'll talk to you again shortly. Okay, folks, with the slaughter phase over, we are in the final stretch. I was saving the rest of the hirelings for the end, but I pretty quickly hit a big snag. Turns out you can only have 3 hirelings at a time. Even if you kill one and give them to withers to look after, you still can't hire more than 3. You'd have to release them, which means you can't kill them, which means I actually can't kill them all. I guess that's not a huge deal though, if withers isn't around to revive any of them anyways. I mean, they're already dead. I killed my new friends, Asterion and Shadow Lung, and then had lae'zel consume the astral-touched tadpole. I would have done it myself, but I needed lae'zel to do it because she has spells that I need to get this done. In this form, she can use Shocking Grasp and Ability Drain to drop Wither's intelligence score to 1. Then with Absorb Intellect, Wither's intelligence score will drop to 0, and if any ability drops to 0, you automatically die. This, to my knowledge, is the only way to kill Withers. Too bad it took lae'zel becoming what she hates most in the world to get it done. It's hard for me to believe that we've actually reached the end of this challenge. It's been an insane ride, and there's been so many corpses left in our wake, but we don't have time to sit and reminisce. Let's go take control of the Elder Brain and bring true ruin to the land of Faerun. It's just me and lae'zel now, so I got our equipment all set and then went back under the city to find where the Elder Brain had been waiting. Before I could find the Elder Brain, I was faced by an army of cranium rats. With some scrolls and bomb arrows, I made quick work of them. Then lae'zel and I took a ride on this boat to reach the Morphic Pool. The Elder Brain released some shockwaves as we approached that got our boat destroyed, and we had to swim the rest of the way. There truly was no going back from here. On the way to the brain, we got jumped by intellect devourers. They kinda took care of themselves, but they do it around you, which sucks because that shit hurts. lae'zel went down, but I was prepared with some healing, so it didn't stop us. Then we were confronted by the Elder Brain. It rose from the Morphic Pool and spoke directly to us. I took the stones and tried desperately to control the brain, but this was no Elder Brain. No, this was a Nether Brain. A much more powerful and intelligent being than an Elder Brain. The Nether Brain taunted me, told me that this entire journey was part of its plan, part of its grand design. In gathering the 3 Nether Stones, we had unknowingly done exactly what the brain wanted. I tried one last time to bring it under control, but like the other attempts, it was fruitless. The Nether Brain attacked, but we were saved in the nick of time by the Emperor, and he whisked us away to the astral plane. In our absence, the brain broke free from its hiding place and rose high above the city. It used its power to turn people into mind flayers, and carnage broke out in the city below. Several nautiloids emerged beside the brain, and it was made clear that this is it. This is the end. Back in the astral plane, though, the Emperor had a plan. Currently, he's tied to the astral prism and can only leave in short bursts. To escape the prism permanently, he'll eat Orpheus's brain and gain his knowledge and powers. Then, once he's free, he'll be able to use the stones to control the brain, something I guess only an Illithid can do. lae'zel, of course, was not going to go along with this solution. Orpheus is to be the savior of the Githyanki people after all, but we all knew it couldn't be sunshine and rainbows forever with us. I gave the Nether Stones to the Emperor, and lae'zel was crushed. She yelled at me, threatened me, and then did battle with me. This fight would be no different from our fight back in Act 2 though. I guess that was sort of foreshadowing, huh? Face to face, I struck her down with a divine smite.
When all this is over, will you stay with me? For good?
lae'zel was a lost soul, one that just wanted something to believe in, but unfortunately, I couldn't be that for her. lae'zel, I hope wherever you've gone, there's a sunrise waiting for you. I'm so ready for this to be over, man. I've broken my own heart like 30 times. The Emperor took a big bite of Orpheus and gave him the abilities he needed. Now all I have left is me and the Emperor. And no offense, buddy, you're no lae'zel. Feelings aside, we are approaching the final battle and we're finally ready for it. Usually in the High Hall, you'd find all the allies you've built up throughout the game waiting for you. But Astarion, what the f are you doing here? And, you know, alive. Okay, whatever. We're too close to the end for me to keep questioning things. I killed the 3 boys here and then climbed high into this tower to kill kill a stray winged horror. Before we can take on the final battle, we've got a few folks off the beaten path to deal with. First, we need to break open this gate and make our way into the sewer. I don't think most people know about this area, but if you don't, it's not too tough. Just a few NPCs, and I'm just kidding, there's a whole army down here. This fight is such a silly assortment of enemies that you face throughout the whole game, but with some help from the Emperor, and I do only mean some help, this guy isn't really all that, we managed to get the job done. There's some innocent civilians outside of the next fight, and a guy named Renfrew the Baker. I had no clue where he came from, but he's the only one with a name for whatever reason. There's also a small group of watchmen that follow behind them, and we killed them too. And these 2 mind flayers. The last little group that I fought with before the big battle was against these winged horrors. They're kind of off to the side, so I was able to kill all of them without triggering the whole thing. After they were dead though, we drank some potions that basically equate to a long rest, and with just myself and the Emperor, we were going to have to fight off the army of the Absolute. I took on my giant form before engaging anyone, but I was only noticed by a small group at first. I used that as an opportunity to destroy a bunch of people with explosives. The amount of enemies slowly started to grow, but I just kept on fighting. I don't love the Emperor's set of abilities, but it was getting the job done. I successfully killed the first small group and then flew right into the next one. I owned the Spectator, I blasted some goblins, but then they just kept coming. There were so many turns in between me and the Emperor that everything I did became so important because it would be forever until I could go again. They were pretty dead set on targeting the Emperor, which could have been worse, I guess. The Emperor can use scrolls, if you didn't know, and I brought a bunch of them with me. My boy was getting pelted, but he kept holding out for his turns. I kept taking down people while they were focused on him, and though it wasn't a perfect tactic, it was working. Their numbers were dwindling, and we were still standing. It went on this way for several more rounds, but in the end, it was just the Emperor and I remaining in the courtyard. Oh, and these guys. I killed them too. The next stretch, the run-up to the final battle, can technically go on infinitely because the Nautiloid will just keep sending in backup, so I didn't waste my time trying to kill everyone. At the bottom of the Nether Brain, there is usually a restoration pod, but I guess I'm out of luck this time around, so I just took another nap. Here we go. I climbed the stem of the Nether Brain and reached the top. Like in the self-same trial in the Gauntlet of Shar, there's technically more unique enemies that can be here depending on your party, but I can't really change that now. The Nether Brain also has a f***ing dragon as backup that is nearly the same strength as Answer was, so I was in for a rough time. I opened up by using a power that I'd been saving to kill my counterpart, and then took on my Slayer form for some extra mileage on my life. I wanted to focus on the dragon, but I got grabbed by these tentacles and lost out on a turn. The mind flayers that surrounded us got some hits in, and things were already looking dire. The Emperor freed me with a chain lightning spell, and I got to work attacking the dragon. I was far from killing it, but I was closer than before. It knocked me out of my Slayer form, and now I was sorta out of last-ditch efforts. I kept hitting the dragon with all I had, and I was out of range of the mind flayers, so I was able to keep fighting it without getting destroyed. It took a couple turns, but with some good old Divine Smite, I took it out of commission. A Nautiloid joined the fight though and started sending in more of those infinite reinforcements. I needed to reach the crown and take control. First though, I needed to destroy the brain tentacles and the mind flayers that were here when the fight started. You know, killing every NPC and all that. The Emperor was having a tough time with the tentacles, and I couldn't save him before the mind flayers dropped him. I got revenge on them, but there were still more coming. I revived the Emperor, but it was really hard to keep him on his feet when he was already so hurt. I had to revive him like 5 more times, but I was still managing to fend off the enemies. The Illithid were no match for me, but there was an infinite amount of them, and unfortunately that equation ends with me losing eventually. I ended up finding a pocket of time to revive the Emperor and heal him enough to stop him from going down. I needed this to end before it went on much longer, so I had him start taking over the crown. I kept him safe long enough for him to open a portal directly into the mind of the Nether Brain. We would have to attack it there to win this battle, and the Emperor got started without me. I joined him when I got the chance, and together we unleashed everything we had left on the brain. It was destroying the ground around us to keep us on our toes, but we didn't relent. A scroll of disintegrate, a topple the big folk, a lacerate, a concentrated blast, and finally, a plain old swing of the sword. The Nether Brain's will had been broken, and it was in prime positioning to be controlled. The Emperor braced himself to take control of it like we had planned, but that plan would never see the light of day. I had my own agenda, and while he was vulnerable, I turned on him. I viciously attacked the Emperor, my last ally, my last friend, and he died at my feet. I gathered the stones and used them to dominate the brain. I took a seat on the throne at the top of the crown and urged all of the Illithid now under my control to follow me, and we would begin our reign of terror. All done.
In Baal's name.
So kids, did we do it? Did we kill every NPC in Baldur's Gate 3? Absolutely not. but man did I try. I think we did really well considering the massive scale of this game, and without your comments and feedback, it wouldn't have worked out nearly as well. This project has been the biggest undertaking I've ever, undertaken. It took 89 pages of scripts, 40,000 words, a notebook and a half's worth of notes, over 100 hours of recording, and almost double that in editing. I cannot thank you guys enough for joining me on this journey. It's one that I will certainly never forget, and even though it didn't go perfectly, I'm proud of it. If you enjoyed yourself, remember to subscribe and leave a like and all that other boring stuff. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. GG's, everybody.